We're back. It
back.
feels good.
We're back like we never left.
Back. Oh my God. I'm so happy we're back. I love doing these podcasts. We got so much to talk about. First off, let's address the elephants in the room. First, we're engaged. Our business is open. Chrissy is pregnant. There's a lot happening, people. Slow down. Don't move so fast.
It's a boy.
It is a boy. Oh, it is a boy. We've seen ultrasounds. We've seen 3D. We have not seen 4D. There's a lot going on. There's a lot happening up here. But we also have a lot to discuss. How are you feeling as to be a new mother?
Soon to be mom. I'm feeling great.
Soon to be. Woman, it's in there. I felt him. He touched me last night.
Mom to be.
Mom
Yes,
to be.
There we go. Mom to be. I'm feeling good. First trimester was fun, to say the least. Second trimester's been great, and I'm almost in the third trimester, so.
Guys, you know, the journey.
The baby's big.
Yeah, the baby's big. It's cool because we've been watching the baby grow, and you know I'm not that educated. So as I watch the baby grow, it's really interesting. Like watching start off, it's like a little bit of seashell, a little bit tadpole, and then it's like, oh my God, you have a face and ears, and you're a human. The first time I saw Chrissy start getting that little bump, I was like, oh my God. She really is pregnant. Like, it's something growing inside of you. That's awesome, though. I'm super excited. As you can tell, we're super excited about being parents. I just light up every time I get to see him. I try to talk to him every day. I'm like, can you just touch me, just so we can be together?
Belly button.
Yeah, we're just be together. But we're not here today to talk about our lives. We'll intertwine that with our new series of our podcast. And so people are probably wondering why we have a book on the screen. All right, so this is what we're doing. We're changing the podcast format from just talking about us into talking about more about the ways that business and life is changing us and allowing us to develop. Our goal there is to ask the questions to each other and kind of give you guys a little insight on the conversation that we have on a low level and eventually high level of what, you know, our in-depth conversations look about things that we're doing, things that we're reading.
Yeah, these
things
are
that we
usually our conversations that we're having like on a daily basis, and we were like, why are we not just?
Yeah, we were like, why don't we just record that? Like we were like so busy trying to talk about, oh, that's what we're doing. Nobody cares about that, but we can tell you about how we're messing up so many different things and what we learned from it. You ready to get into this?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the first book that we're going to review and something we want to talk about because we feel like it starts the series of everything we're about to do. This will be interesting. This is a social experiment of our own, of ourselves. So we're going to find out how this goes. So what we'll be doing in this series and for hereafter is we'll be interviewing each other, other people, talking about our favorite books, all that stuff. You ready to do this?
Absolutely. Just to clarify, the book is Atomic Habits by James Clear, but just to be clear, that it's not a summary of the book. It's like the nuggets that we take away from it, and
this is not how it applies to like you. It's more how we're dealing with it, and hopefully you guys can see like, oh, don't do that. Or take away from the errors and mistakes that we have.
Yeah, like it's not a report on the book.
Yeah, it's not but we're going to talk about stuff that he talked about in the book. For sure. And we're going to address things and see how we would approach it. So, James Clear, just to get this out of the way, is an American best-selling author and entrepreneur. So he's really out there. If you don't know him, go look him up. But he is the author of Atomic Habits. He speaks. He does all kind of engagement. One day we may have him on this show, but for now, it's just me and Christy discussing his book. So James, if you ever see this, hit us up because we would love to speak with you and pick your brain. All right. So let's get into it. Do you want to ask the first question or shall I?
You can ask the first question.
All right. So, let's see.
And we're looking at our phone and we're looking at our books.
Because we have notes. We take lots of notes.
We're human and it's a lot of information to remember.
All right. So, what is a low level? What is a habit to you?
Oh man. A habit to me is something that changes your behavior over time, either in a positive or a negative way. And something that you do in a routine way that you could be just doing mindlessly or subconsciously.
Now, that's great because I feel like for a long time my life was nothing but like just autopilot, nothing but habits, but the habits weren't good. And that's crazy because I'm thinking about like how habits can be a good thing or they can be a bad thing.
Yeah.
You can have bad habits, like you're like, oh, you have bad habits, but you also have good habits. And I feel like people talk more about their bad habits than they actually ever talk about their good habits.
Right, I agree. Or they don't see how like their negative habits could become something that's like habit stacking, like what they talk about in the book, which is like taking one thing that you're already doing and then like tying it to a reward so that you get the response that you want from it.
So you're saying instead of people building up on their habits, most people are like trying to create sections of habits. Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna do this, but then I'm gonna do this. Yeah. And like instead of letting habits build on each other and growing your habits, people are like, well, mostly us. let's not talk about people. Let's talk about us. Mostly what I do is when I started off, I would instead of attaching a habit to the next thing and like, oh, okay, when I get up, I need to do this. After that, I need to do this.
Yeah.
Instead, you're just like, oh, I need to make my bed today. And so pretty much you're setting micro goals instead of putting together a system.
Right, exactly. Instead of just, a lot of times people, like New Year's resolutions and stuff like that, they won't stick with them because they're only going after that one huge habit.
Yeah.
When in reality, that's not something that's normal to you. So for something to be a habit, you got to consistently be able to do it. Something that's sustainable, something that can always be done over and over or built up.
So exactly. Building a system into it and like understanding, like for me, like let's say working out, that has been a part of my system. Okay, so working out has always been something we do first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
But we started off, we did in the afternoon, but the busier we got, we started doing it in the morning. Right. Especially when we started trying to build a business because we were exhausted at the end of the day to actually work out. So what could we fit it in? We started working on other things. And when we started working on other things, I started working on journaling and writing and stretching and meditating. I gave myself an out for working out. So I was like, oh, I'm doing all this other stuff. I'm being productive in the morning. I'm waking up early. I'm doing all this other stuff. But I'll work out. I'll move a little bit.
Okay.
And the more I let it slip, the more I got to the point where I wasn't doing it. And then I got to the point where I was like, oh, I got to start back doing it again. And then I was like re-motivating myself. If I had never stopped.
Right.
If I had never stopped and I had stayed with the system 1% better every day, I would have actually kept going. Yeah. But it was cool to actually observe my fall because what I did is I just supplemented it with something else. I was like, oh, well, I'm still challenging myself. I'm still giving myself a good challenge.
Right.
But my working out is going, why can't I do both? And I was like, you got to be more disciplined. So it was building that system back into my system. I have the time. I know I can. Get up early. Get up on time. Don't be lazy.
Right.
Get there. Start your workout. Just move. If you go, then it'll become a flow. Then make sure after that flow ends, what are you going into the next? Okay, now, yeah, exactly. So I get that now. Did not get that earlier, especially when just getting started with business. Like, did not understand that.
Well, it's interesting that this is technically the second time that we read the book. The first time, read the book in California.
That is so true.
It's true. So, like, the situations we were in California and the situation and journey in life that we're in now, you take away different things. So in the book, James Clear talks about Charles Duhigg, I think was his name. I wrote it down. But they're called keystone habits. And that's what you're talking about. Like, okay, if you don't get anything done that day, the one habit that you would want to do is exercise.
Yeah.
And those are keystone habits because you know that if you exercise, then the rest of your day is set for whatever it is.
You feel accomplished though.
Yeah,
you feel like
you sleep better. Your moods improve. There's a lot of, they call them keystone habits because they carry over into the rest of your life, even if you didn't get anything else done.
That's insane. Like
you have like this contract with yourself to not miss an exercise.
It's like an internal dialogue because you're like, now you're at war with yourself. You're talking to yourself. It's become like more spiritual for you because you're like, oh, I can conquer this. I can do this. Okay. What else can I do?
Well, dang, man. My next question was if you only had time to develop one new habit, what would yours be? But obviously yours is... Okay, outside of exercise, because that one is like a given.
Yeah, you have to exercise, people. If you're not exercising, there's some problems.
Like mine would be yoga right now, or like Pilates or something like that.
Exactly.
But like yours would be exercise. Apart from physical activity, what's another habit that if you didn't have any time for it... I already have my answer. What? So.
Click
on it. Take a second.
Oh, I know what it is because is it? Do I have to be doing it right? Like, no. Do I have to be doing it right now?
No, because this brings it to your conscious that this is okay. So this something that I would definitely do if I didn't have time. So when you have time, it's like you should be doing this.
Okay, so there's one thing that I did start doing. I've been doing it for a while now, so I'm very happy about that. But and that's like journaling.
Yeah.
That's something that I'm already doing. It's something that I know I should be doing.
Mm-hmm. No, I get it. Like, again, we're thinking about keystone habits. Yeah. So if you didn't have any time and it carried over to the rest of your life, like life habits or routines.
Oh, definitely journaling.
So it would be journaling.
Journaling every day just because it allows me to
be creative.
Yeah, it allows like I can write about whatever I want. Like in your journal, you're not like you don't have to report to anybody in your journal. Like you get to talk about whatever you want.
Yeah,
like,
it's that creative freedom.
Yeah, so like having that one bit of freedom, like if the world ended and I could just write and hope that just
like nothing's due.
You don't have exactly.
Any time frames. Like you're not gonna have a penalty if something's.
It's just writing. Like that's absolutely. I enjoy that. I think that definitely.
Well, mine. Since you've asked me, is
I didn't. I really didn't. Like this is what I'm trying to. Like I'm still talking about let me see.
So, mine would be. It talks about in the book, and I'm a big advocate for this. But it talks about everything has a home, and your environment and shapes all of your habits.
All right. Before she gets into this one.
This is not a...
No, I know. But before she gets into this one, like, I'm going to defend myself now. Because I'm going to get ahead of this. Because I know, like, there's going to be a couple jabs that, like, that's going to hurt. But, before she gets that, I'm excited to see, like, let's see. All right, let's go. Bro, y'all don't understand.
Within an interview, you just interviewed yourself.
All right, I'm ready. Let's go.
No, okay. Let's do it. So I'm a big, even though I don't consistently do it right now, it is something that that I really want to do because it helps with structure, it helps with organization, it helps when things are disarray or if things pop up, then you already know where something is. So mine would be everything has a home and keeping your environment in sections. In the book, it talks about even if you live in a box, you still keep your book in sections. So much like, remember whenever you were working out in the same area that you were riding, and you were like, whoa.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dude, that was weird. We'll talk about that later. That was weird. Yeah.
It's one of those situations where it's like, that's what I want to do
to make sure. That's crazy, because that little bit of change changed everything.
Yeah.
It changed everything, but
same thing for the kitchen. Like, okay, you only cook in this area, all right? Well, you only do work in this area. Like for you say I only stand when I'm working, so that works for you.
Yeah. Oh, it makes a huge difference. Like, that's just we'll go into that deeper later too, because like we do a lot of biohacking. We play around to try to understand how we work best independently. So it's always interesting. Why? So you feel like that would be the one thing that you would have to do every day?
Yeah, because it carries over to that if-then stuff that you can do with the cue, the craving, the response, and the reward.
But now I'm about to ask you a hard question, so go ahead.
That's fine. The example I'm going to give you is like in the car, right? Like if I have, a Chipotle cup and like a straw. We and I and you think that's all the same, are trying to like, okay, well, if you leave, if I turn the car off and I'm going inside, then I take one piece of, then collectively your car's clean.
Yeah.
So stuff like that. That's just
That's
what
a
I want
great
to be able
example.
to do.
That is a great example. Like that's like everything else. It's like keeping your bathroom clean. It's like
if I take a shower, I put the towel over the thing.
Yeah,
There's some
exactly.
stuff that you
It's like,
already do.
Yeah, and exactly. And like I think that's like the things that you consistently do bring structure, bring organization.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have organization in all the parts of your life. Like wait, let me see. Hold on. I have it in here. It's building the discipline. And my favorite person right now, Jocko Willing. I got it, Jocko.
Shout out, Jocko.
Also, if you would like to, I've read your book as well. We'll also discuss that later because that is one of my favorite books. But he says discipline equals freedom. And like, it's so true. Doing the simple things correctly and over a course of a period of time, it adds up to being something phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And so like, I'm probably, Mama, I'm sorry, but I'm probably going to get it tattooed right inside of that. Discipline equals freedom, because the more disciplined we become as being business owners and developing, the this is the crazy thing, that we're forced into discipline. Everyone around us is in the military or in some type of disciplined field. Like, it's insane. Like my entire family, my uncle, everyone is in the was in the military or veteran.
My dad's
your
a cop.
dad's a cop, your mom's a nurse, like disciplined fields. So we probably were the most undisciplined in our families at that point.
Black sheep.
We were the people that everybody was like, maybe they'll do something. Like, maybe they'll do something. And everybody else, like my brother, my sister, all of them in the military. Your brother's in the military, your other brother's a coach. Like, it's crazy because it's fun to make our way into understanding that discipline actually does equal freedom.
I mean, it's just like the book says, tiny changes, remarkable results. Like, it's so true.
It is so true.
That's crazy.
It really doesn't take a lot. If you really like, you remember when we were doing like the 5-minute cleanups at home?
Yeah.
Like we would do the 5-minute cleanups.
Well, what's crazy is, again, the environment. Like, okay, we set the tone with the music, all right? And we just make sure the windows are open. We got some good fresh air going. And then it's like, let's just clean up for like 7 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever time we have.
Exactly. And we would take that little bit of time. We would clean up, get the entire house spick and span. We're like, whoa.
Look what we can do.
We would reorganize, restack, like... But it's just 5 minutes and you don't realize how much time you're actually wasting.
Yeah.
When you start building real habits, I feel like you really start to capitalize on your time and your space. Like, we have 0 time, but we manage time to read books. Like, that's crazy. Like, we have absolutely 0 time.
0 time. Like, I have a list of things.
Like, there's always a going list. There's always something happening, especially when you're running a business in the middle of COVID. Just getting started in the middle of COVID. Not just running a business in the middle of COVID, but getting started in the middle of COVID.
Doing it all.
Like, we've been forced into being habit people because it's the only way you're going to be successful. And it's not easy. It's not easy by any means. So, now, let's move on to the next question.
So that was my question. What's yours?
So, my question, let's see. What do you feel about specific goals? Like, do you feel like you need to be specific or should you be a generalist?
I think it comes down to that, like, internal contract that you have with yourself. Give an example, because I like giving analogies and stuff. I can have sugar at night if I do this. Then you're with your brain and you're thinking, well, I kind of did this, so this kind of makes sense. But if you're more specific and it's exactly what you're talking about, then that reward feels better.
Mm.
Because I feel like if you do it that way, it's a slippery slope, and it's like, well, now you're back to your bad habit.
Mm.
And that's okay if you're building off of your bad habit, but it's not okay if it's going negatively towards whatever you're trying to achieve.
So something that I've like now now it's worked for me, like the sugar thing.
It's not just sugar. Like, I can social media, all of it. Like, I have it.
No,
too.
for me, specifically, like something that I had to break bad habits off of as a growth cycle. Like, I always wanted, like, I am a sugar addict. I love sugar. I'm a dope fiend. Like I love
You've been
sugar.
Doing really good with that.
This is the thing. Like, as I continued to, like, I was like, oh, I can't keep eating all that sugar. It's so bad for me. I know it's bad for me, but it's like crack. You can't stop. Just got to go back. So I'm always trying to figure out a better way to eliminate sugar from my diet. Like, I see my mom eat a lot of sugar. She stopped. My dad eat a lot of sugar. He stopped. And I was like, if I could just stop eating a lot of sugar and keep supporting them, like, we'll all stop. Chrissy don't drink have a lot of sugar, so it's completely fine.
I mean, to be fair, I have like an intolerance. So.
she doesn't do sugar well. That's okay. I absorb enough for both of us. Like, so a contract that I've made with myself is that I cannot have sugar until the end of the day. So the very end, right before my day ends, I can have a sugar up and crash, just like that. Now, sugar crashes aren't good, but it made me sleep wonderfully. So, so yeah, I have no problem with them. But it's something I'm trying to wean myself off of. So it was like I had to take the bad habit, the whole bad habit, put it together. And I was like, I'm going to move it to make me, like, give me a dopamine rush to pretty much drive me into the end of the day. Like, if I have a good day, if I do the things that I'm supposed to do, if I knock out the things that I have marked for me to do, I get ice cream. I'm a child. Yeah. I'm very simple. I'm a child. But by doing that, I've allowed myself to have motivation to get to the thing I want to do. Right. Like, before it used to be editing. Like, I wanted to edit at the end of the day. So I had those things like go to work, focus on your team. When you're done, you get to go edit. Same exact thing. So do you have something in your life that you
for sure
compare to that?
There's a situation every time I get on this, like, you know, sometimes we fall off the bandwagon with working out. Even like the greatest do it, and then they're like, all right, shoot, gotta get back on it, gotta get back on this regimen. So I used to make this contract with myself, and I think that's why I ended up having ugly workout pants before I met you. Let's be real.
Bro, if you ever looking, go on her Instagram. If you're ever looking, we'll plug that in there.
Don't make me do you. You had some tiny shorts in New Jersey.
Whoa! They were, because I had nice quads at the time, guys. Like, show them. If you got them, show them.
Right. No, but I used to do this contract of like, okay, if I work out, then I can buy yoga pants.
Yeah.
But I wasn't specific with myself, right? So my goal wasn't like, if I got my body mass down to this, then I can award myself with that.
Yeah.
So then I was like just buying stuff because I would pick back up on the workout. So like, yours is sugar, mine is like trying to motivate myself to like get moving again.
Sure, addict of clothes, you say?
I was. I'm very much more minimal now, thank God that I've met you, but it's like, whew. It was rough.
Life
Same thing
teaches
with shoes, everything like that.
It's so crazy. Life teaches you so many different things. And that's crazy because it builds on that. Like, so, wait, hold on. Like, I have another one. Hold on.
So, do you feel that being specific is something?
So, before I answer that, because I've been...
Your question.
I've thought on this heavily. So, I do feel being specific allows you to build better systems. Mm-hmm. Whenever I say I want to get work done, if I say it just generally, I don't get done. But if I call out the thing that I need to get done specifically, I need to send Christy new logo so she can edit, make, like, you see what I'm saying? I have to say it down to the T.
Yeah.
If I don't acknowledge it down to the T, my ADD brain says, well, we got most of it done.
We got the gist of it.
We got the gist of it, right? Like,
But then you end up having to send like the PNG.
And it gets so. Instead, I was like, send this, this, and this. Also talk about this and this. And if you just do it once correctly, it makes a world of difference.
Yeah.
Now,
you've gotten better.
I am not great at doing that.
You've gotten better though.
I am working on it. I am progressive.
Of course, we're all working on it.
I am progressive, but I know that was weird. Sorry,
Every
guys.
time we're
I don't know why. Yeah, my nerves. No. I'm progressive, but like it's just one of those things. Is building into the system, being specific about what you need to get done is for me. Anybody who's like me that needs to be specific. I need to do this exactly. And I actually picked that up from Chrissy. Like being specific about actually what you want to do. I would just say work on Facebook. Yeah, I know what all that means. It's in my head. And then I get to working on Facebook and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do.
You sit at the computer like,
what am I supposed? So you just start scrolling. And I've read another book. It's called Deep Work, and I will talk about that one later too. But like, it's really good. And it's like you just start scrolling. And you're like, oh, what am I doing? And there's where the absent-mindedness comes in. Because there's nothing.
There's no energy to do what you do.
There's nothing. Yeah, exactly. There's nothing stringing it together.
Out, yeah.
That's why whenever you don't know what you're trying to do, like I'm gonna work out tomorrow. Doing what? What are you gonna do? What are you going to do tomorrow that's gonna motivate you to work out? Do something you want to do, but do something that's gonna make you feel good when you do it. Make you happy. That way you build on it. Not everyone is the hard, tough type. I am. I'm not hard and tough, guys. But I'm the motivated, like I self-motivate, I'm self-deprecation. What is it? Deprecation? Self-deprecation. Yeah, that. I do that because it gets to my head and allows me to go into a zone.
He's a pantomath.
But it allows me, the pantomath, I just all over the place. But it motivates me to keep going and having those specific goals.
Autodidact. I'm trying to think of all the words we went through.
We went through a whole bunch of things trying to figure out what we're going to call this show, too. So this is interesting. We'll talk about that later, too. Yeah, so it's like being specific allows you to string together your thoughts. Like, what this, then that. If this, then that. If this, then that. Like, we're a computer algorithm.
Yeah,
we're input, output. We're input, output.
To an extent, we still have to be creative. We still have to be flexible. We can't be so fixed, stuff like that.
Well, we have to also express, I mean, the human dynamic is emotion. So being flexible with our emotions is what it all makes us us. Now, we can think, but emotions allows us to continue to grow. So, atomic habits.
Going into that, I'll go into the next question.
Okay, because I can do this all day. I'm ready. I've been ready for this book. Ever since she said we're going to talk about it, I was like, let's do this. This is the podcast I've been waiting for. All right, I'm ready. Sorry, guys.
Do you personally feel that others look inward at their habits instead of emotionally and so on and so forth? Or do you feel like, what I mean by that, do you think, oh man, I'm feeling in this slump? They don't say, let me evaluate my habits. They say, oh,
wait. Time out. My brain missed it. Give me a second. All right, say it again.
Do you feel that people look more like when they're in a slump or depressed or sad or down or whatever it is, or just in a funk? Do you think that they first look inward at their habits? Or do you think that they first try to go to like, oh, well,
I can tell you what I did.
Let me look at my external factors.
I can tell you what I did. When I first started on this road of self-development, I always looked outwardly. But I'm an internal thinker. So like I'm super introverted. I love being myself. Chrissy's really the only person I'll talk to. Her, my mom, and a couple people in my family. Like, I'm just super introverted. I don't try to be, but I am. So whenever I'm thinking about, wait, I lost my train of thought. Wait, we can do this.
You need another question.
Wait, what was it? Emotions. Oh, internally, externally. So I usually,
do you think people look internally at their habits?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So usually I would look externally and try to see what was the factor for why things were happening. Like, oh, that's because this, and Bob did that, and George did this, and Sarah did that. Instead of realizing, like, oh, I led up to this. Like, if I would have got up earlier, if I'd have did this, I would have had this problem. I would have had enough time to do this. I could have did that. But it's like a series of events that led up before and after that you keep messing up. It's never that moment that you're messing up. Like, your worst moment isn't the moment that you messed up everything. Everything you did before that is when you messed up everything.
Right.
Making the wrong decision before. I learned to look internally, and I'm still, every freaking decision you make, you have to learn to look internally. So my first thing that I try to do is, like, how did I mess up? How did I mess up, and what could I have done better to improve the situation, to improve the situation I'm in, to improve myself, improve the relationship? Where did I mess up? And how do I build habits on that? Like, how do I build habits on how do I improve the things that I did wrong? How do I make sure that I don't have to go back to feeling that way again? How do I gotta make sure that I don't have to go back to trying to suffer through fighting, my demons each and every day? How do I keep the demons out of my thought loop? And building those habits, positive thought loops and focused thought loops, and saying it over and over again is the only way that I feel that I've gotten along. And I think most people go outwardly to the situation just because it's easier than beating up on the only person that is fighting in this world. You're the only person going against this world. Why would you and the world beat you up?
Right.
So you will always take it out on the world. Once you realize you're doing that, and then you say, wait, the things around me, it's reverse. It's actually reverse. It's not the world looking at you and you looking back at the world. It's actually you should be looking at the world so the world can see what you see.
Right.
So you need to be looking into yourself so the world can see what you're trying to envision. Not you trying to tell the world, but you working on yourself so that you radiate the things that you're trying to pass along to people.
Right.
And I think most people don't. And I think once people do and once people turn inwardly, it'll allow you to have the conversation that you need to have. It'll allow you to have the tough conversation.
Like, I agree. It's one of those things, like, when you're in a funk or if you're down or you're just upset and you're like, you've got to first be able to identify, like, okay, something's off.
Yeah.
Then you look and you say, okay, I'm not waking up early, but also what are the other micro habits that you're creating? Are you watching news, before you go to bed? Are you watching it before you go, start your day? And it's,
are you on social media?
9 times out of 10, it's negative. Or are you on social media?
Are you on social media?
Are you wanting someone else's life but not realizing that you're, like, making yourself sad?
Yeah, like, are you beating up on yourself?
There's nothing wrong with, like, checking in with your friends and family and all that kind of stuff. But, like, then there's a like, overuse of it where you're just, like, mindfully using it and it's no intent.
But it's also beating up on yourself.
It is.
Because it's like constant true command. Think about all the great thinkers of the world. This is what you're not doing right now. Exactly. Yeah. All the great thinkers of the world lived in mostly isolation. Like, thinking. And the reason why it's crazy now is because we have so much stimulus. And it's so hard to make start a habit when you have a whole bunch of stimulus that every time you pick up your phone, 30 minutes have gone by. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, every time you get on one YouTube video, 5, 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes are going by. So I have, and this is I want to talk about this because this is how I've learned to manage my addiction. I have addiction to YouTube videos. I have a heavy... She's laughing like this. I have an addiction to YouTube videos. I'm sorry, guys. It's really bad. I have an addiction, and it's not a bad addiction. My algorithms, I think, is pretty good. Your
algorithm is so interesting.
Like, my algorithm's pretty awesome. I love it, but I always want to see everyone else's algorithm. So if you want to send a screenshot of what your first 5 things on your thing is, I think it'd be dope. But my algorithm's pretty awesome, and I love being on YouTube. But I realized that YouTube was eating up a lot of my time. I spent a lot of time listening, watching, than I was actually doing. So I was like, how do I get the same dopamine rush I get from watching YouTube videos, but also get work done? So learning how to pair, if I do this, then I do that. If I do this, then I do that. So if I work for 8 hours straight, nonstop, 4 hours straight, nonstop, at lunch, I can watch 2 YouTube videos.
Mhm.
Boom. Now my algorithm, now I'm not having exhausted myself from YouTube. I'm super motivated to get the work done. I'm like, let's get this done so I can go watch some videos. It's my rush. It's bad. It's probably not. It's like drinking sugar.
I think also setting a timer
Yes.
makes a difference.
Absolutely.
Like small little things that you can apply to your daily living. That's
putting
like,
parameters on yourself.
Exactly. If you've got a thinking of, well, I can just do this for a little bit. It's, again, I use this reference all the time. It is a slippery slope, people. It truly is. And then
David Goggins said, don't miss 2 days.
Yeah, so did James Clear. He said you can
Great
miss
minds.
1, but if you miss 2, then it's on purpose. 1 is accident, 2 is purposeful.
No, David Goggins says never miss a day.
Well,
James Clear says yes.
miss 1.
Sorry, I got my greatness mixed up.
Yeah.
Like for beginners, like David Goggins is very extreme. If you don't know who he is, go look him up. But David Goggins is very extreme compared to what James Clear is saying. James Clear is really just more. David Goggins is once you've already mastered this, how do you keep going?
Yeah.
James Clear is like, how do you get started?
Yeah.
So with this, I think this is a book everyone should read, honestly.
Well, we started, for our new series, we started with this one because if we talk about any of the other stuff, but we don't, our habits aren't right in our daily living or, you know, in other people's daily living, and you're really not going to stick to whatever else, whether you read a mindset, whether you read a parenting, whether you read diet, exercise, whatever it is that we go deep into.
It has to build on it. And you have to develop the personality of the habit that you're trying to adopt. So if you want to be a fitness person, you need to develop the habits of an athlete, is what they said in the book when they were talking about. You have to develop the mindset of an athlete. But it's just growing off of that. Now, I have a big question for you, and this is one of your favorite things. It's something that Christy loves to talk about. And it's compounding interest. What do you think about 1% every day?
I think the 1%...
getting better 1% every day.
Yeah, it's so funny because my senior year, my junior year in high school, we had bands. Go Belton Tigers. Woo. We had bands that said 1% better, and it was for our football slogan. So I'm a firm believer in it. Like it's a trickle effect. It's you've got a bucket, and then if you're just putting just a drop in that bucket every day, 365 days later, you got a full bucket.
36% better.
It. Exactly. Like, I mean, the same situation with you, you know, writing in your journal every day. Sorry, I have a piece of hair on my... What was that? Okay, you writing your journal every day. Now you have 3 books that you have written full of just...
It's insane. Awesome. It just adds up.
Exactly. And that's something that's like, it's a compound effect in the
even journaling. Just one day I started off just writing 1 page. I was like, write a half a page. And then it just kind of flowed, and I was like, well, flow state, cool.
And the book thing with me, like, you know, the being brilliant, but becoming brilliant and stuff like that, the book that I'm reading, it's, okay, 1 chapter a day, or it's 5 pages when you can fit it in. Well, now it's 15 minutes, and now I usually fit it in like a chapter a day. Yeah. But I want to work it up. Yeah. So you don't try to eat the elephant whole. That's how you end up not finishing it. But if you take 1 bite every day, then you're full of...
Well, what do you think about the idea of increasing your endurance? So with any task, by doing it consistently, you start to increase your endurance behind that task.
I think once you feel like you're like plateauing, or you feel unmotivated, or you're just kind of like going through the motion, that's when you need to like up the stakes a little bit. I don't think you need to do it to a sense where it's like, well, now it's not sustainable. Well, now it doesn't fit my daily living. And
but push yourself just a little bit.
Yeah, it's just like weightlifting.
Yeah.
I mean, we can always go back. That's why exercise is such a keystone habit, because it's like...
It's all about progression.
It's the foundation of it.
It's about fighting that demon.
Yeah, exactly. But it's one of those things, like, you start it, and then you get better at it. And as you get better at it, that's where the student becomes the teacher, and then you're starting to get better. And
it's crazy. You know when you know somebody knows something is when they just radiate it. As soon as you hit that button, they just like that is That I feel like that is what habits look like.
Well, we're humans, and in the book, it also talks about this. It talks about if you hit a plateau or if you feel like you're unmotivated, what are the key things that you could do? Well, you can see progress. How do you see progress? You've got to track it some way. It's great that if you write it in the book, but if you don't have that book, you don't have it open every day right in front of your face, then you're not going to see that you are making progress, and subconsciously
you need to have it in front of you.
You're going to take that foot off of the gas pedal. So
that goes into morning routines and night routines.
Yeah.
How do you set yourself up for the next habit that you're trying to do? So are you putting your book on your pillow? Are you placing it on your desk if you read in the morning, if you read in the afternoon?
Well, another thing for me and people in general, I think, but really for me, is if there's friction, not if there's work.
Yeah.
I'll put the work in. I'll make the sacrifice. But if there's friction, then it's like I got to do 1,000 other things to get to one thing. An example in the book, and also something that I was thinking about is, it talked about, remember the guy I told you in Colorado? He had a guitar that he wanted to learn to play. Well, in Colorado, the climate is different, and you have to keep the guitar maintenance different, and you have to have all these tubes and storage for it. So the guy found that he was putting it in the closet. Well, a year rolled around, and he had only learned like one song when his goal was to learn like several. Well, he had looked at his habits, and he was like, well, it's in the closet. It's a lot of friction. I don't want to have to get it out to play it, and I don't want to have to set it up and clean it up. And what he found is he just left it on the stand and was like, okay, I'll just deal with the maintenance when it comes. So the less friction that you have, the more that you'll be able to use it, and the more that you'll want to have that desire to use it. Same thing when working out. When you have a gym in say you have a rower and a assault bike and some jump ropes in the back of your garage, opposed to the friction of, now I gotta find a babysitter. Now I gotta go in my car. Now I gotta drive 15 minutes or 5 minutes down the road to the gym.
True.
Even though it's a small friction, people don't want to do it, right? Because your brain's always wanting to go towards comfortability and that homeostasis.
You have to, like something that I'm learning every day. You have to learn how to be okay, at least, with being uncomfortable. Because if you're not, life is going to suck. It continues to suck because you're going to continue to go through things like having those frictions are what's going to make you realize, oh, it really wasn't that bad. Let's do the next thing. Let's put ourselves in order so that we don't have to worry about that type of organization again, though we don't have to worry about those type of things again.
Order, let's get ourselves in order so that it's... Friction is fine. It's going to come.
You're going to have friction.
Obviously. But if you could cut down on it and give you not the least friction, but the easiest way to get something that's hard done.
So
you prepare it. You have something set up. If I need to put something in for school, then I make sure that I have this, and this ready. Stuff like that.
Exactly. It's like having so what I believe is starting and stopping ritual. So having a ritual that starts you on a subject or starts you on a task, and having a ritual that stops you on the task. Like, now, most of my morning is meant with, like, doing administrative, like, getting on their computer, doing work, stuff like that. Most of the afternoon is actually doing laborious type of stuff.
Right.
So, it's one of those things of, like, in the morning, boom, 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 boom. In the afternoon, I have a little bit more freedom because I have to move around, I have to go do stuff. But in the morning, it's like, I have to do these things to make sure things get done
How do you
properly.
cut down on friction, though?
How do I cut down on friction is by setting it up and prompting myself. So my journal, I have the journal on the desk. I have it, but I can't go and do here, and I can't touch the desk until I've done my workout. So I have to have the workout done. My weights are ready.
But when you're done, you have your pen, your pad,
ready
your light,
to go.
You have everything set.
Yeah, like it's the next thing. Light my candles, things smell good, try to figure things out about myself, try to figure out where I'm going.
Set the environment for your
set the
learning,
mood.
Yeah.
But it's just building on those things, and like we're just really getting started. Like we're still infants compared to the monsters who do it day in and day out. All the CEOs and stuff that have to build these habits over the course of 40 plus years. We're still infants, but it's crazy because these books freaking offer you everything about it that they've learned, and they compile it all into information. If you don't. Oh, I love this book. I love this book because it's the beginning of where we start, where everything starts.
It's a foundation, and then from there we're just adding in like cement and all the fun stuff.
We like to think we're different from computers, but we're not. We're input output creatures. Even our emotional experience. I'm sorry, I can go in this all day, but even our emotional experiences are input output.
Yeah.
We start off with, where did you learn it from? What stuck in your brain that everything else fostered off of?
Right.
What is the central point that is causing you the most problems? Mm-hmm. Why aren't you addressing that?
Mm-hmm. Like, if it's a sense, and we'll wrap it up with this question. We'll go on to the next one. But
I love this.
If you could give the less friction, you're more likely to complete the task. And again, it's not that you're not willing to do the work, you're willing to put in the extra work so that whenever you go to do that task later, it's easier for you to get the task done.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. That's why I love her brain. Mm-hmm. Okay, so now I have a question. Yeah. The power of language.
Ooh. You know I like this one.
Yes. So, with the power of language, how do you believe the power of language plays on yourself? Your internal dialogue plays on yourself. How does that affect you, like, internally for your habits? Like, how do you talk to yourself? What do you do, and what are you starting to do to develop those habits? And what does that look like for you now on your journey of becoming more atomically habituated?
Self-talk is super important. I know we've talked about daily affirmations, but it's more recognizing the negative things or the not so positive things that you might have said like in the past to yourself that, I mean, you wouldn't say to your child, you wouldn't say to your loved ones, but why are you saying it like to yourself? And I think whenever you're trying to create these habits, I think when you have the negative self-talk, you're just reminding yourself of the habits that you didn't get done or you didn't complete.
It's hard because you're naturally easy and hard on yourself at the same time. You're easy on yourself all the way to the point where you have to be hard on yourself. And then you're super hard on yourself. And you pretty much break yourself trying to be easy on yourself again.
Well, a lot of times I would get unmotivated. And in the book, they talk about the difference between the greats and you know, average is they just stay in the suck a little bit longer.
Yeah.
They stay in the okay.
They're okay with the suck.
Yeah, exactly. So just getting better at, you know, the more self-talk that you do to yourself or give to yourself, making sure that it's building you up. I don't mean to see like kumbaya and all frilly. You know, I'm not into that. But I do know that the word choices that you choose to tell yourself, you also hear. So it's one of those things, it's like true. For myself, that it's not self-serving, so why would I continue to... I don't do it near as bad as I used to. I used to be really negative on myself.
So this is a crazy thing. I am very negative on myself.
You do it, and you've done this since I've met you. You do it, and you're such an interesting creature because it motivates you. It's the weirdest thing.
I love it. Like, I love negative self-talk. Like, I don't know why. I do not encourage it for anybody.
Yeah, this is where we have one of those opposing...
Like, I love negative self-talk. The reason why I love negative self-talk is because I know I can do whatever I want to do. I just know if I tell myself I can't do it, I'm way harder on myself than I am myself. I know when I'm being lazy. I know when I'm not working hard. I know when I'm not trying. Nobody else can tell me more than I can how bad I'm doing. But I know I don't have to do bad. Mm-hmm. And knowing that I'm capable, I can walk, I can think, I can move, I know that.
Right.
So my motivation is, why are you sitting there? You sore loser. Yeah. Why are you sitting there? Why are you moping? Why are you feeling bad? Why do you want people to feel bad for you? Everybody got their own problems. Stop letting everyone feel bad for you. Get up, work. Everybody else is working. Everybody else is putting in the time. There's people all over the world that are still struggling and living in ways that we should not have imagined.
Right.
So get up and get to work. Your problems aren't that bad. The things you're moping about aren't that bad. It's a part of the journey. It's a part of the struggle. You wanted this. Get to work. get to work. Stop crying. Stop whining. If you want to quit, quit. But if you're not going to quit, get to work.
Yeah.
That is my mindset. So for me, that negative self-talk is like, what are you doing? Like, you're right. You can't do it. What? Who are you talking to? Then like that other side of my mind switches. Is like, who do you think? And then like I look like the nutty professor. But it's literally that. So for me, it's a motivator. Like if all of my parents and my family didn't go in the Army, I probably would have went into the Navy.
For me, it's not that I don't address that I'm doing a negative behavior or whatever. Like, I'm not like, oh, you're doing really great today, Christy. It's like, I can say it, but if I stay too long in the negative, then it affects the environment that I'm in.
Ooh.
So, like, I can address it. That's totally fine. And I can be like, oh, nope, I need to switch gears and do this. But if I stay in it too long, you're not good. So
if I stay in it too long, it makes me super introverted and super focused. Like, because it just, like, it hits the button. Like, it's like, this is why you're not getting nothing done. This is right there. That's why. And so I just in it. And I'm just like, oh, you get on my nerves. I'm going to do it now. Like, it's I don't know. Like, it's crazy. And that's why I love picking your brain about stuff. Because the way you see it and the way I see it, like, I'm a lot more intense. But Chrissy she's intense. But in her own way. So, like, intensity comes in so many different ways. And, like, when we collide about, like, habits and the things that we do, and especially being together every day, like, our habits intertwine and we have to make each other better. So it's really good to have a good habit partner. And it's better if it's your fiance or wife. Like, I'm telling you that now. If you got a girlfriend that you plan on marrying, then that's good too. Boyfriend you plan on marrying. But for the other part of it, like, have somebody that can put you into the environment, which is one of the other, and last thing. The last thing is putting yourself in an environment for change. So like you were saying, setting up your environment, but also setting up the people you talk to and people you're around. Are you talking to like-minded individuals? Are you talking to people like, can you learn from this person? Can you develop better habits from this person? Yeah. Are they saying like, when I get up in the morning, this is what I try? Yeah, you give it a try. Give me some health hacks. Like, learn from the people who are in the position that you want to be in.
Right.
You know, study the people that are doing the things that you would like to do. Be around the mindsets. And it's even better because now you can kind of bask in it a little bit more because you have multiple ways of getting those mentors into your life to help you build better habits. You don't know where to start. Read a book.
Yeah.
Read a book.
I really want to read Tim Ferriss's Tribe of Mentors just because.
There's so many hacks.
Well, I don't have a lot of mentors growing up. So a lot of these books are like stuff that, you know, it's one of those things of like, if I would have had a little bit more experiences, then I'd have a little bit more.
That book is coming to you guys, bro. Y'all don't know. We got so many books coming for you guys. This is like, I'm super excited about this podcast.
They're all getting so excited that it's like a new movie about to release.
Every time somebody drops a book, I'm like, oh! Like, my mom sent me like 6 Audible credits the other day. I take Chrissy credits all the time. Like, this is insane. And then like reading, like, we have Kindle, all that stuff. Like, I read the free books on Kindle. I don't care. I'll read anything. But we're going to discuss everything. So, hope you guys enjoyed this first podcast. We're going to wrap it up. We're definitely going to come back to this book because we're just getting started. And this will never go away. And we're probably going to read it again. But until next time, thank you guys for tuning in. This podcast probably is not going to stay this, like, talking to the camera. Now we're just going to go directly into discussion next time because we have plenty more books on the way. So, until next time, do you have anything you want to leave the people with?
No. Tiny changes, remarkable results.
God dang it, she took mine. An easy and proven way to build good habits and break bad ones. The time is peace.